Hello, Blackhawks Nation. Welcome to the Blackhawks Daily, your favorite recap of the daily buzz around your Chicago Blackhawks. I'm your host, PJ. Thank you so much for tuning in, as you guys always do. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on this trip, on this journey, as we say, along with me. Just heading into the centennial season for the Hawks, original six team. Just love our homegrown guys. So thank you for being a part of this journey. As we know, it's been a pretty slow off season, so we're always trying to find some tidbits to talk about. Thank goodness we have quite a few things to talk about today. So why don't we get into the top four topics of today? So after this weekend, we had the Tom Curvers Prospect Showcase. And you know what? Really cool. And I've been thinking about whether Oliver Moore can follow in Frank Nazar's footsteps. But more than that, here are my top 10 impressions from Minnesota that might suggest that this crop of prospects might shock some people this coming year. Impression number one, Moore's speed and his finishing ability. Oliver Moore didn't just get noticed, he owned the chance to show that he belonged. He scored the overtime winner against the Blues on Saturday, turning up the speed, beating his man, and burying the puck. That kind of movement answers a question coaches have about whether or not he can be more than just fast. Can he finish? Well, I think he proved that. Impression number two, potential top 9 center ceiling. We keep hearing Moore's game compared to Nazar's. Differences obviously exist, but the question remains, could Moore be another top 9 center for Chicago this season? His ability to influence the game with speed, create chances, and now deliver in clutch moments gives him that shot. Lord knows he's earned it. Impression number 3, our favorite upcoming D-man, Sam Renzel, has already been standing out. He might have been the best Blackhawk prospect on Saturday. From puck retrievals along the boards to sudden bursts, he looked really confident. One clip had him turn away from pressure and create separation, then hit Tage Harding across the ice, who buried the pass. That kind of poise at his age, very impressive. Impression number 4, Levshunov. He's growing. Still kind of learning. So Artem Levshunov had some rough patches, turnovers, gambling plays, but he also had enough moments where you see his high ceiling. He needs a stable partner who can anchor defense when he ventures forward. His competitiveness showed through, though, right? Nightingale, the coach, praised his poise and said that he's still a young freshman that needs to learn that sometimes less is more. Just trying to do too much out there. But, pressure's on, so I get it. Impression number 5, goaltending depth. Stanislav Berezhnoi posted 31 saves on 33 shots in the opener, and Owen Flores had a strong game, too, against Minnesota Sunday night. Neither is ready to steal a full-time NHL job, but they absolutely raised their stock this weekend. These side pieces matter. They build organizational depth that pays off. So, really great to have them in the system. Impression number 6, Nick Lardis, our guy, beyond the goals number, right? So Lardis didn't lead the scoring this past weekend, but what stood out was how comfortable he looked physically against older and bigger forwards. He made plays, he accepted contact, and he seemed to know when to use his speed versus when to simplify. It's not just about scoring 70 goals, which he did in the juniors. We've highlighted that many times. It's about being effective in pro space. I think he's really getting there. Impression number 7, AJ Spellisy embracing the physical identity. He showed grit with hits, battling, heavy forechecks, and getting in scrums. He's not the smoothest yet with the puck, but that physical game is his identity. He might not make the NHL roster out of camp, but this weekend he showed that he's someone that you want in the lineup for impact shifts. Impression number 8, depth forwards like Green, Bem, Misiak are stepping up. Ryan Green had some spurts. Nathan Bem looked strong, especially for a recent junior, and Martin Misiak is showing that he can play multiple roles. They didn't light up the score sheet always, but their play around pucks, energy, and awareness really stood out. These are forwards who can push for bottom 6 or call-ups if injuries hurt or happen. Number 9, the importance of a competitive game, action versus practice. Showing up in practice matters, but Saturday's game versus St. Louis proved real value. You see who adjusts, who tires, who folds under pressure, and who steps up. There's a difference between being good in drills and being good when the puck matters. For several guys, the showcase provided just that test, and these people are really stepping up. And lastly, culture versus mental edge. One of the more underrated takeaways, there's real belief coming through this team. These guys are gelling. I think we talked about that earlier. These young guys look like they believe that they belong. They're not just playing to impress. They're playing to compete. There's a big difference in that. Oliver Moore, Renzel, Lardis, they look invested and confident. Nightingale's comment after the game echoed this. He said that they seemed composed, ready, and focused. So where do we go from here? Well, watch which of these guys carry the momentum into training camp next week. Will Moore's finishing translate over 82 games? We're going to find out. Will Renzel and Levshunov get consistent reps and strong defensive partners? One certainly would hope so. And which depth guys can push to break out? So these are names that could shift how the roster looks down the line. That's your top 10 impressions from Tom Curvers. So let me know what you think. Hope you saw some names that you're excited about, because I sure am. So put it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. It's always great to get your feedback. Moving on from there, let's talk about a gentleman that we have talked about quite a bit, Wyatt Kaiser. So Wyatt Kaiser, he's out for contract, right? He looked like a different player when he came back up from Rockford late last season. In his final 22 games, you could see it. The skating, the confidence, the reads. He wasn't overthinking anymore. He was just playing the game again. Skating with purpose, making smart plays, moving the puck. It was a big step towards that perfect time. So now here's the issue. Kaiser still doesn't have the contract, right? He hasn't signed. The Hawks and his camp have been negotiating for about a month now. And as of this week, they haven't reached an agreement. That means Kaiser technically can't report to camp for his medicals or on-ice session without a deal in place. Part of the delay? Well, he wasn't arbitration eligible. That gave both sides more room to negotiate, but also removed the pressure to get something done. The Blackhawks like Kaiser, no doubt about that. They believe he's got legit top 4 upside, and actually a lot of experts do. He plays a responsible two-way game that most of their young D-men don't. But here's the thing. They also want to see this type of play for a full season. Last year was a roller coaster. He got sent down to Rockford twice. So while they want him around, they're not ready to commit to something big, not yet. So on the other hand, Kaiser and his camp believe those 22 games were the start of something real. He settled into the NHL. He figured it out. He proved that he belongs. And if you look at what he did playing alongside Levshunov, not just the points, but the minutes and the impact, that ceiling was looking higher every day. So here we are. Clock's ticking. Both sides want him on the ice Thursday. Nobody wants him missing time. The Hawks are offering a bump from his $916,000 ELC, but it's probably not the one Kaiser's hoping for. Will they meet in the middle? We're going to find out soon. But if Wyatt Kaiser picks up where he left off last season, both sides will be glad they got something done. So what do you think, guys? Should Davidson commit long-term now or wait it out? For me, I say sign him. Let's get him in, put that behind us, and let's just go into the season. All right. Let me know your comments. That would be awesome. So moving on from there, let's talk about actually get into this Bedard contract. It's the biggest question left in this rebuild. What's it going to look like, right? We know it's coming. We know that he's not going anywhere, but with the recent deals of Frank Nazar, Alex Vlasic, and Spencer Knight, it's officially time that maybe we should predict what Bedard's extension could be. And yeah, it's going to be a big one. Every successful rebuild starts with a core, and Kyle Davidson's been quietly locking that in. You've got Vlasic locked up on the back end, Nazar up front, Knight in net. 6 years here, 7 years there, all at reasonable numbers. It's smart cap work, and it sets the tone for how this roster is going to be built. But the crown jewel of the rebuild, it's Connor Bedard, right? He is the Chicago Blackhawks of the future. And his deal, that's going to set the tone for the next decade. Now look, Bedard isn't Vlasic or Nazar or Knight. Those guys had under 100 games of NHL experience. Bedard's at 128 points on 150 games, and we all know He's just getting started. He's already produced at a pace that we've only seen from the likes of McDavid and Matthews. And with a cap projected to hit $113.5 million by 2027, yeah, he's going to get paid. We just saw Kirill Kaprizov, I kept saying Kaprizov, it's Kaprizov, turn down $128 million from Minnesota, not because it wasn't enough, but because he knows the market's exploding. Bedard's camp knows that too. So, what's the number? Davidson loves value. I mean, who doesn't, right? He's proven that. No one on this team is making over $6.6 million right now. But this is Connor Bedard we're talking about. He's not taking a bridge deal. He's not leaving money on the table. He's going to want term, and he's going to want something that reflects his role as the guy in Chicago. So here's what I'm thinking. 8 years, $84 million, a $10.5 million cap hit. That would make Bedard the highest paid player on the roster by far, but still less than 10% of the cap once it rises. That's manageable. That's using your head, and it's fair. Bedard's made it clear he wants to be in Chicago. His quote last week, they know I want to be here. They know I want to be there. I know they want me. It's not on my mind. So no drama, no stress. Just two sides that want to get something done, and they will. So let the speculation fly, but don't lose sleep. Connor Bedard's contract will happen. And when it does, it'll reflect the superstar he already is and the face of this franchise for years to come. So what do you think, guys? Is $10.5 million the right number? Do you think Davidson should aim higher or lower? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And the reason why I'm talking about Connor Bedard and his contract is because things just got real in Minnesota. Kirill Kaprizov, and I'm taking time to make sure I mention his name correctly because, well, you'll see. Mr. KK, as we like to call him, the Wild's homegrown superstar, might actually be on the trade block. And now there are 4 frontrunners emerging in what could be the biggest blockbuster deal the NHL's seen in years. So let's get into this. Here's what we know. The Wild reportedly offered Kaprizov an NHL record deal this offseason. We're talking north of $128 million, and he said, "Niet, nah, no thank you." Well, at least for now, right? That in and of itself was already a shock, but over the weekend, reports came out that Minnesota is now building a trade list just in case things don't get back on track. So let's be honest, if that's even on the table, things are getting a little spicy up there in bland old Minnesota. According to Bleacher Report, there are 4 teams emerging as serious contenders if Kaprizov really becomes available. And here they are, Carolina Hurricanes, right? Perennial playoff team that just needs that offensive jolt. Kaprizov would look very nasty in their top 6. The New York Rangers, they've got the assets, they've got the cap space, they've got the stage. You drop Kaprizov at Madison Square Gardens, it's scary, right? With Panarin, the rest of those teams, that could be awesome. Another huge market, the Los Angeles Kings. LA's got a loaded pipeline, they got cap flexibility, and they're right on the cusp. Kaprizov might be the difference in a deep run. And number 4, your Chicago Blackhawks. That's right. We're officially in the mix. Kyle Davidson's been clear when it's time to surround Bedard with star power, he'll be ready. Could Kaprizov be that piece? Oh. Now, we don't know what Minnesota actually wants in return. That's the wild card here. Do they want picks, prospects, young NHL talent, our firstborn, our first house? Who knows? That's going to determine the true favorite. But if Kaprizov is really on the move, well, then get ready for a full-on NHL bidding war. The guy has 152 points in his last 136 games. He's elite, he's dynamic, and he's only 28. Right in his prime. That's the kind of player that shifts the balance of power in a conference. And that's why more than just these 4 teams will be calling. So should the Blackhawks go all in on Kaprizov? Now is the time. Is now the time to make a massive swing and give Bedard a legit star on his wing? Let me know in the comments. What's your dream line for Bedard next season? Bring in Kaprizov, right? Bring in whoever you want. Trades, whatever. Who do you guys think? And thank you so much for putting in the comments. Things might be heating up in the West. Let's go, Hawks. Very interesting stuff. So That's a wrap for today, Blackhawks Nation. Again, get those comments going. Put in your thoughts. There's a lot to chew on. There's a lot to dream about. So let me know what your thoughts are on all of this. Thank you so much for tuning in every weekday. Thank you so much for all the likes and the subscriptions, which are freaking amazing, as well as sharing about the channel, right? We're just trying to build up this huge consensus of fans going forward, celebrating the Hawks going into their centennial season. It's the best team in hockey. It's the best city in the world. Thank you for being on this journey with me, guys. Really appreciate it. That does it for today. We'll see you tomorrow, and I'm PJ, seeing you the next time